Let your feet do what they're naturally designed to do. If your ankles, your knees, your back scream out at you at the end of the day and say, "What the heck is happening?" like mine do, then I'm going to say, go barefoot and free yourself from the pain. To learn more about going barefoot, click on the link below and do what I did. Find a better way to live your life going in zero shoes. So if you like what you've heard, go to Zero Shoes and find out. So I want to welcome you to another episode of Talking with Kevin and Son, featuring the people you should know. Hi, I'm Kevin McLemore. I am your show host, four-time published author, speaker, and mindset messenger. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Through the power of your voice, we want to uplift, inspire you, share stories and experiences and perspective using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is simple: hope, HOPE, helping other people every single day. Now, whatever your objective is, successful people like my guest today create a framework around their day to day life that sometimes enhances their life, but many times they pour into others. This podcast will reveal the highly effective life and the secrets that turn small acts of kindness into what I say better words, to words that change the narrative and giving clarity to kindness. Today's guest will share with us the steps from uh, becoming an emotional controlled agent, an artist, and a better human being by educating us on the art of unconditional love and taking small steps that lead to big outcomes, all leading from the heart. Today, this show is personal. So if you stay around long enough, she will teach you the simple and doable steps that will inspire you to transform your world through just small acts of kindness. Our guest is a fun, relatable powerhouse of a speaker, a change artist. I say she is the gatekeeper to kindness. He has cultivated an audience from around the world, and she's also a personal friend. I say that she got the memo today to wear the pink, and I got it, but she is the gift. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Miss Lisa Demmi. How you doing, LD?
I'm doing good, Kevin. How are you today?
I am doing so fine. You notice in my neighborhood, when your name goes from Lisa Demmi to a nickname, you have been embraced and welcomed into the fold. So, LD, how you doing? All right.
I love it. I love it. I gladly accept.
Well, you know something? Um, we live in a world that's constantly changing, and sometimes I wake up, I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse. We're talking about kindness. It takes, I won't say brave, because brave leads with courage in order to go out of your way to be kind to someone else. Maya Angelou says courage is kindness. Um, but we all didn't start out that way. We all started out trying to learn how to walk, learn how to talk, and then every lesson that we've learned up until the point we got our own driver's license and had our own opinion. I probably started talking back when I was 12 years old, so long before I got my driver's license. But we were also taught how to do this, how to do that, and whatever. But very seldom do we support the words kindness. We seem to overlook that. Um, what is kindness, Lisa?
You know, it seems like it would be a really easy answer. But in this day and age, I don't think it is anymore. I think kindness is just letting people be who they are, seeing them for their humanity, treating them like any other human. And it's not just humans, it's all living things. Kindness to animals, kindness to the planet, kindness to ourselves. I think it's treating ourselves like we matter, treating ourselves like we have a place, and treating ourselves like we belong, just like anybody or anything else.
But you do know, and I've said this. I'm going to share two things with you because I have um, an upcoming interview with trying to save a deaf and blind dog from being euthanized and trying to find a forever home. But in the fall, I'll be teaching podcasting at Cheney University. In my
Right.
opening presentation to the 10 students, I said, there's no profit in kindness. I said, I probably have the only show that I'll never get a sponsor for, that I'll never make a lot of money off of it because I'm all about giving back and there's no profit in kindness. Um, What would you say to that? And please correct me if I'm different.
I would disagree that there's no profit in kindness. I think there's a lot of emotional profit in kindness, a lot of spiritual profit in kindness. Monetary profit, no, you're right. Um, but I think that I know for me, and I'll just speak for myself, when I am kind to somebody, I get just as much back from the interaction as I would hope they do. And it feeds my soul, it fills my cup. I think in many instances we are a lot better off than other people. And so if I get a chance to do something kind for somebody else, then I feel good just as much as perhaps they feel like they got some help or they got recognition or attention or a leg up or whatever it might be. So I think there is profit in kindness. And actually, I might even go further. So I don't know if you remember this story, and I don't remember the name of the company or the name of the CEO, but there was a CEO a few years back who, instead of getting a raise, he gave every single one of his employees the same amount of money that he got. And I believe there was a follow up to this, and basically there wasn't specific profit from that specific transaction, but his business ended up being more successful than it was when he first made that decision. So maybe indirectly there is profit in kindness. I don't know. I haven't tested that one out yet, but I don't think it's that far fetched.
Something I was just throwing that out there because I wanted to see what you caught versus what you've been taught. And I know that from our earlier conversations that you come from something I'm not going to say take you all the way back there. I'm going to reel you back just a little bit. Where did all this begin with your heart and kindness? Why do you feel this way today? And where did it start yesterday? Let's take you back to yesterday. Tell me your story.
So I was very fortunate to be brought up by a mother who, we all think our mom's the best. Um, so I'll say my mom was the best. My mother was the most compassionate, loving, kind, fair, um, human who could still scare me when I turned, even before she passed, she was 80 years old and she still scared the hell out of me because she was such a force to be reckoned with. That being said, when so I came out when I turned 23, and my mother, again, I'm so grateful for this. My mother was not only did she accept me for being who I was and not, kicking me out like a bunch of my friends got kicked out, but she also made sure that I knew that I was fine, that I was okay, that there was nothing wrong with me. And she is the one who paved the way for me to have, a quote unquote regular life, just like anybody else who's not gay. And her kindness to me and to my friends and to my sisters and our family and everybody just set the stage for us, for the rest of the family. And I think that my sisters and brothers and I are some of the kindest people you'll ever meet because our mother raised us that way. And so I think that's where the kindness was first instilled into me. I think, I speak on DEI and quite a bit now. And I think that like my mom was the OG DEI expert, even though it didn't exist when she was kind of, putting her knowledge into me and my sisters and brothers. But I think the reason that I feel so strongly about kindness is because I had the best example in my mother. And that's where it all started, however many years ago, 50 some odd years ago, when I was a kid. I
But
realized that you should treat people kind.
isn't that love?
Sure. Um, but I also think that kindness is love in a different way. So I love my family. I love my friends. I love my coworkers. I everybody that I meet, I don't necessarily love, but I'm always going to be kind to them. I was having a political conversation. I won't get into the details, but one person was on one side of the aisle and I'm on the other side of the aisle, and he basically said, "When we win, we're kicking all of you guys out of here." And I said, "The difference between me and you is that when I win, I have no desire to kick you out. My desire is for all of us to be together, coexisting. And so to me, that's kindness. I don't love the guy. I don't know the guy, but I can be kind to him."
All right. All right. Um, I experienced a situation in a conversation thereafter where a guy was sitting in a restaurant. I won't name the restaurant, but it's a very popular coffee shop, and you probably have one near yours. And people frequent, they go there to do their little work. They use it as an office where they get their little lattes or whatever the case may be. And while someone was delivering or walking by, and they spilled their coffee. And he said he had a brand new jacket, and he got up and he went off. And he went off on this tangent. So once we got him calmed down, I had asked him, I said, "What's going on?" That he goes, "The guy spilled coffee on my brand new jacket." I said, "But did you hear him try to clean it off and say it was an accident? He was not aware that someone had placed a gym bag by another chair and he tripped over it. I don't think it was intention." He offered personally to pay for his dry cleaning and to also comp him for not only his meal, but the coffee they spilled on him. And the guy was so enraged that he couldn't let go. And so when I told him, he says, "I'm not always like this." And he says, "I'm normally kind to people." He says, "But this was my brand new jacket." And I said, "So you choose when to be kind and when to be enraged?" And he says, "No, I didn't choose." He says, "The guy made me mad." I said, "But you have to think about it. Were you mad before?" And you said you're always kind to other people, but he's a person too. Can we turn on kindness and turn it off to serve our own mission, or is kindness a full-time job?
I think it's a habit, Kevin. I think kindness is a habit. I think that, and I think kindness is getting a kind of pushed to the side these days because of a lot of, us versus them, a lot of people being put in boxes. I think the political climate is definitely making its mark on kindness, because I think people, instead of stopping and thinking, they're reacting because they are already hyped up about whatever it is they're angry about. Even like you were saying, that guy said he wasn't angry, he wasn't mad about anything, and he normally treats people kind. You never know what's going to set people off. And I think that, unfortunately, I think a lot of people are predisposed to be quick and to react and to be angry when someone does something. I mean, that guy obviously didn't say, "I'm going to go spill my coffee on this guy." When you get into an accident with someone, you don't say, "I'm going to go get into a car accident." Um, Nobody, for the most part, ever tries to do those things, but they happen. They're accidents. And I think that it's already happened. You being angry isn't going to change anything. What will change something is if you are treating the other person with kindness, because now your day is ruined and so is theirs because you let them have it. So what if you were the bigger person? What if you chose kindness instead of being angry? And you said, "I got into a car wreck one time. Let me tell this story here. And this will give you an example." And I was on my way to the beach and I was running a few errands and I was a block away from my home, and this woman just T-boned me. And my car was drivable, so it wasn't horrible. But she got out of her car and I was like, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. I have insurance. Nobody got hurt. My car's drivable. We're going to be fine." And what I told her is, I said, she had her kids in her car with her and she was just freaking out. And I said, "Listen, I go, where do you live?" And she lived around us. We called the cops and everything like you should. had them fill out a report. But what I told her is I said, listen, I'm getting ready to leave for the beach, but if you will let me, I would like to make you and your kids dinner when I get back. She looked at me like I was an insane person because that's probably the last thing that you're thinking when you get into a car wreck with someone. And it turned out, I don't think I ever did make her dinner, but it turned out where I felt good because I didn't give her a hard time. I was fine. Everybody was fine. I had insurance. She felt good because she didn't feel like a total piece of crap for, I have no idea what's going on in her life. I have no idea if her kids distracted her. I have no idea if her life was going bad. I have no idea what people are going through. So my default setting is why not be kind?
Yeah, well, I understand that. I, in our personal conversation, I think last time we spoke, I asked this question. I was always curious, and so I'm going to put it out there because I know you and I are not the only ones. When I look at you and you look at me, I ask what do you see when you see me?
What do I see?
Yeah.
I see a black man. That's what I see. But that's not what I like physically. I see a black man, but what I see is deeper than that. I see someone who wants to make a change in the world. I see someone who it's like important to you to hype people up. I feel like it's important to you to make an impact on this world and other people. I feel like you're someone who is a doer, not a complainer. I see a big cheerleader. I see an impact maker and a change maker. That's what I see on the other than the physical.
All right. Because when I look at you, I don't see your resume. I don't see anything else. I just see Lisa.
Right.
All right. It never dawned on me. And I ask this all the time, is that you made a statement of your life, all right,
Mhm.
of how your choice. And we know that people feel a little bit different because of what you just said. When I look at you, I mean, what did I say to you when I first? We both got the memo in pink. And I said, how is it that you're prettier today than you were the last time I
You
spoke
did
to you?
say
You said I
that,
said it
yes.
to all the girls, and my response was, I only say it to the ones I care about. So the people
Right.
that are in my circle, I only identify you as who your parents named you. I don't see
Hmm.
that the physical. I see how you react to me and how I connect to your heart. And I've had a couple of times that I've had young people that wanted to come out and I had to intervene and talk to their parents. And I find it amazing as how a parent can look at the child that they brought in the world and see anything other than that child. But in my world, no matter how much I've accomplished in my life, I am always first recognized by the color of my skin before anyone ever gets to know me. And
Yes.
if you look at the fact that the bias between your choice in life, other than your skin color, is that the
Hmm.
bias and the prejudice are the same. How do we get people to see Kevin for who Kevin is and what he pours into the world and not identify me as Kevin the black guy or my friend the
Hmm.
black guy that I'm inviting to the party and accept me for who I accept you are as Lisa? And I'm going to put this on LL Cool J, and another country singer has it. And I say this, we need to stop punishing today's children for the sins of their forefathers and allow people to judge you for who you are today. But how do we get people just to see who the person is in front of them?
That's a tough one, Kevin. I mean, I think kindness certainly plays a part in it, but I feel like it's communication, it's education, it's listening. I don't think people listen anymore. I think people have their own ideas about the way the world is. I think when kids are born, they don't think they can't do anything. They don't see a difference. Like, have you ever seen there's a video of kids and they're like very different children, pairs of children in this video, and they ask them, what's different about you? And the things they come up with is hysterical, but it's like one kid says, well, I like lettuce and she doesn't. And it's a little he looks Hispanic, a younger Hispanic kid, and a tall white redhead girl. And the first thing he says is, she doesn't like lettuce and I do. That's what's different about us. I wish that we could act like children more, but I feel that it's, nature versus nurture and the environment that you're brought up in. And my hope is that this next generation of kids is going to make a difference in the world because I feel like, without sounding like a generalization, people who, I don't even know what generation this baby boomers, I guess, or even before that, they have a way, the ways that we think of the world have evolved so much from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. And now you look at, now we have gay rights. Women could vote, blacks could vote. Gay people could get married. All of these things that we have rights on, it wasn't like that back then. So if you were to go back to the 60s, they were still killing people for being gay. They were still putting people in jail for being gay. In the 60s, if a black person sat at a white person's counter in a cafe or something, they were put away. So I think the thinking has certainly changed quite a bit, and I think it's that whole thing of I told someone and they told two people and so on and so on and so on. And my mission is to change the world, but I know I have to start somewhere. So I have to be, you said something about courage and kindness. I think it is courageous to be kind because sometimes when you take a stand for other people, you become a target. And so you have to be courageous to be able to say what you want to say, to put yourself out there, to fight for those who don't have their own voice, to protect others, and not just, I'm not just going to protect gay people. I'm going to protect all people who don't have their own voice. So I think I've kind of, walked around the barn to close the door, but I think that the way you make that change, Kevin, it's baby steps, unfortunately. And I think it's by being an example for the people around you. And if they disagree with you, then you talk to them. I'm not saying I'm trying to change everyone's mind because I don't think that's the proper way to do it. I think you have to change their heart. I think you have to break down the barriers and show people that people aren't that different.
You're exactly right. And maybe um, open up a dialogue to where we listen more than we talk, get to know people. I think getting rid of labels on how we identify ourselves and just be who we are in the present moment with the present company. We just had the 2024 Olympics. And when I look at what the world goes through, what we're going through here in the United States and the division, and everyone has their little group, with the exception of a couple of hiccups, I watch countries all over the world, people that won gold, bronze, and silver. They hug people that have participated and won nothing, whatever, from all over the
Yeah.
country, all over the world. I saw people in countries that I never thought Black people would exist that were there, and they were all embracing each other, all getting along for the love of sport. All, they did battle, so they say, in competition. But at the end of the day, they put their arms around each other. And I think we need to drop some of the labels. Who cares? You know, how you identify yourself. It's how you introduce yourself. If you introduce yourself as Lisa, I don't care what other labels come about it. If I embrace you and welcome you into my world, you're welcome in my world. And I think kindness begins within your heart. And I said, once your heart convinces that it's good, then your head recognizes, and that's where love begins. And as we
Mhm.
step out into the world, we become optimistic that what we do, it becomes contagious. Now, I know you have a foundation. I'd
Yes.
like to talk about that if you don't mind.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I do have a foundation. It's called the Small Magic Foundation. It is a 501(c)(3) that I have been um, running for the past probably 5, 6 years now. And basically, I talked about the hope of the next generation and the changes that I think that they're going to be able to make. And so what I do is I give them either a gift or a scholarship or assist them in some way with their passion. And the passions are things that have been important to me that have changed my life. So it's music, art, and fitness. And it's self-funded. I have, very few sponsors because it's a side thing right now. But I do love giving something to the kids. We gave away 3 bass sets for some kids in school last year, and it's not just like, oh, who needs a bass kit? They have to write me, a letter. They have to tell me why they deserve it. They have to tell me how it's going to impact their lives, and then they have to tell me how they'll pay it forward by getting that gift. And then we have a committee that reads the essays and chooses. And if I'm lucky, I get to give away more than one gift. So we've given away violins, we've given away bass guitars and amps, we've given away art kits. Right now, we're working with a gym locally to see how we can give away some training for some young people who maybe couldn't afford to go to a training place. And this is my way of saying, hey, I know better than you a little bit. I've been around the block a few times. Let me help pour into you, just like you do, Kevin. I want to pour into these kids. And but in turn, they have to pay it forward. So I'm showing them a kindness, or my sponsors are showing them a kindness. And then in turn, they have to show a kindness to somebody else. Because I think that charities are great and helping people is great, but it's almost like, like when people get, this is going to be an insane example, but people get like weight loss surgery, and it's great because they lose all this weight, but no one ever teaches them how to eat. So then they go back to their old ways. Well, so what I'm saying is, I'm going to help you, kid, but I'm going to teach you how to be kind so that you don't go back to your old ways, that you continue and you pay it forward. And so far, so good. So good. I mean, these kids have just blossomed and paid it forward, and I couldn't be happier.
That's all right. Um, what's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for you?
Oh, wow. Okay, I know the answer to that. The nicest thing anybody has done for me is give me my education. My parents gave me an education when I was younger, and my wife gave me an education when I got older. I got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree because she worked at a learning institution, and she basically said, "I want you to get your degree," which I really wanted, but I had not been able to afford it at the time. And I would say my parents and my wife giving me an education are the nicest things that somebody ever did to me.
Congratulations to your wife for pouring
Thank you.
into a cup that was already full and overflowing. Not many times do people such as yourself have people that instead of dragging their feet on your dream, they pushed your dream forward. So
Yes.
congratulations to your better half. If you were to teach a class on kindness, how would you set up the curriculum?
Um, I think I would look for a diverse group of people and have them sit all in different places, not how we tend to, sit with what we're familiar with. And then I would probably team them up with someone who is 186 degrees or 180 degrees different than they are, and have them spend time with each other, whether it's what they eat, what religion, what their background is, what they like, what they're good at, what scares them, what excites them, and have them share these things with each other so that they could see, even though their challenges might be different, they still go through the same types of challenges. I'd have them, quote unquote, walk a mile in each other's shoes so that they could understand what it's like to be someone who's not like them.
Well, I I spoke at a high school, and at the beginning of this year, and I asked people at a show of hands how many people would like to be like me. Hands went up. So when you look at the fact that I played competitive sports all through my life on three different levels, you look at the fact that I've been on soap operas, I've been in movies and whatever. And I said, let me rephrase that question. How many people would like to be like me and be Black? And people
How
paused
many
and
hands
looked.
went up?
None,
Mhm.
none.
Yeah.
Um, so when I asked this question, all right, and we're going through, and I don't want to talk about politics, but when I look at what's going on in the conversation, all I hear is the distraction. I don't hear the answers to the questions. I don't hear the purpose. I hear people talking about uniting people through the acts of kindness. And I have a good friend, Sid McNary. He is the ambassador of kindness, so self-proclaimed, and he lives that way. He's a yoga instructor, so he's at a very peaceful mind state. How do we get two opposing forces, like the two individuals, in order to stop the name calling, to stop the bashing, stop the political whatever they do, and to sit at the table and says, look, if you really want to unite us, all right, it doesn't take $50 million in order to get a message down. If you want, this money, and I say this, um, and when we talk about waste in America, when you spend $50 million trying to um, question someone's character, that $50 million could have gotten rid of a ghetto. That $50 million could have built two new schools or provided supplies that were, when you talk about DEI, say we can get rid of the
Right.
word DEI if we just level the playing field and gave everyone the
Yeah.
same opportunity. We can get rid of
Yeah.
D&I and what you do with it thereafter, because we all got to put into work. And how would a conversation of kindness sitting these two individuals down? How do we get them to act like good human beings and do what's best for the people?
I don't know because I feel that some people are beyond reach. Um, it used to be that I thought, just give me 5 minutes with anybody and I can make them see things differently. But I think some people don't use reason. I think some people, their hate is ingrained in them. And I think that no matter how much you appeal to those people, you're never going to change them. So I guess what I would do is, I would definitely try. I'm not going to say I wouldn't try. I wouldn't say it's hopeless, but I think that at some point, I have a finite amount of energy. I have a finite amount of time on this planet. And if I want to make an impact positive on the planet, then I have to know where I can and can't make a difference. I think for me, it starts small and build out because I can make more of a difference in a smaller, whether it's a smaller campaign or a smaller community than I can worldwide. And I think me trying to make that kind of change, what if I have other change agents who I have been able to talk to and have them see the world the same way? Now it's not just me trying to make a change, but it's me and 10 other people, or 100 other people, or 1,000 other people, or 15,000 other people. And then you can make more of an impact. So I almost feel like it's starting at the bottom and working your way up. Um, I think there unfortunately are some people that you will never be able to reach, that I will never be able to reach. There are some people who will never make a change. Um, and that's unfortunate, but I can't keep spending energy on them that's not going to make a difference. So I have to look at what time I'm spending, what energy I'm spending on who and where, and that's where I would start first.
I think that's a good place to start. Um, do you journal?
Yes.
All right. How do you start your day with kindness? And how do you spread
I
it?
actually I start with gratitude. So every morning I wake up and I write at least 5 things I'm grateful for. And it could be something as simple as playing with my dogs to as something as big as, I'm grateful that my friend doesn't have cancer anymore, or whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be this monumental thing always. And then so my wife and I have started to try to do this thing where we do something kind for somebody we don't know every day. And I'm not going to say that we're successful in it, 24/7, but we do try to do things for other people, not together necessarily, but we do try to do things for other people. It could be as small as holding a door open, or buying someone who has run out of money a meal, or um, helping someone up when they've fallen, or just telling someone, smiling at someone and saying hi in the elevator. It could be anything like that. Kindness does not require planning. It doesn't require a financial investment. You don't have to have like a degree in kindness to be kind. You can just walk out your door and be kind. Say hi to the person walking their dog down your sidewalk. Um, you know, give the guy who comes to pick up your garbage a cold water. Um, the little kid who's riding his little bike across the street from your house. Walk up to him and help scoot him around. It could be anything. You just don't have to go anywhere special to be kind to anybody. And actually, I mean, you can even do it without leaving your house, because we are the most unkind to ourselves. And I think sometimes we forget we deserve kindness as well, and we are the least kind to ourselves. So I think, and I'll just tell on myself, I am not always kind to myself. I'm not. I go through peaks and valleys, and sometimes when you're going through those valleys, you just, I've used negative self-talk where I'm like, oh, that was so stupid, Lisa. And words are powerful, and you start believing that. So I have to remember to be kind to myself as well.
All right. And how do you react? Because I know I have a hashtag in a 12-hour day, and I work at a very popular health club. In a 12-hour day, I walk more than 15 miles a day, going back and forth, training people and so forth. It's a very large club. But I do know that sometimes people stress you a little bit because how do you react? And I'll tell you how I do it. When you say hello or good morning to someone, they look you in the eyes and they just walk away. And I noticed this at my health club. If I have my name tag on, everyone speaks to me. But if I speak to I've had individuals I see in the club that I'll speak. If I don't have my name club tag on, they don't even recognize me. I know I feel a certain kind of way, and I always say in the back of my mind, I said, God loves you too. All right. But I want to say it out loud, but I never say it.
Yeah.
Is that wrong that to have that thought? Does that take away the kindness
No,
from me?
no, no. I think you're a human. And, congratulations, Kevin. You're a human being. You're on the planet. You have emotions. You have feelings. We're not perfect. I have absolutely done that in my head so many times. And I'm always smiling at people and always saying hi to people, and we'll walk our dogs around the neighborhood, and there's a lot of dog people. The dog people are always pretty friendly, but there are some other people who walk around the neighborhood who just won't say anything back to you. And I'll keep saying hi to them. I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it as in order to. Um, but when they don't say back, I mean, my first reaction is like, well, okay. I won't say, God, you're unfriendly. I would never say anything like that to them, because it's just not, it doesn't serve me or them. But I don't think that I am pure of thought 24/7. I'm not. I absolutely have those thoughts where I want to call someone a jerk sometimes, or I want to retaliate. I think though that my habit of kindness is what stops me from doing that.
All right. I just want to make sure because, I'm glad you acknowledged that I'm human because, um, the translation is God loves you. It's not exactly the translation of the conversation I'm actually saying, but I do it with a smile.
Yes, I understand that.
I like the fact that you do self-talk. And I like the fact that you acknowledge that you do negative talking yourself. And what I've learned, and I hope I meet Dan Sullivan one day because he's going to put me out of business because I always talk about the power of your words and that words either build or destroy. He simplified it with the gap in the gain, the negative talk and the positive talk and the actions that follow. I'm going, thank you, Dan. I should have wrote that book before you, but you beat me to it. Um, is there any place in the continent in the United States that kindness thrives? Or because I do know when I travel, I just came back from Vienna and I felt like I was a prince there. Everyone loved on me. And I know there's some people that probably didn't like it. I just didn't run into any of those people. But I do know that Vienna was a lot more open to receiving me. And no one ever, except for one lady, said, she rubbed my arm and she goes, "Oh, I do love chocolate." And I didn't know how to interpret it, but it was a positive thing for me because it made me feel good. And I guess that's what kindness
Right.
is. Kindness is taking something from your heart without anything returned and making someone else feel good about the moment because we never know what someone else is going through. Is there any place in the United
Absolutely.
States that's kinder than another place? Because I live in Philadelphia and I'll be the first person to tell you that sign says brotherly love ain't brotherly love. Okay.
I have some family up there as well, and I think they would agree. It's they used to say who is they? People used to say that the South people were kind, but I do live in the South. Well, I think a lot of people would say Florida is not the South. Um, I think I don't know the answer to that question. I think, there are certainly you see those polls on social media that, say these are the 10 kindest cities in the United States. I have no idea. Um, I just try to make wherever I go be kind for me. And what I mean by that is I try to be kind no matter what. And I guess for me, that makes the place I'm at a kind place. Um, I I wish that that wasn't a poll that we had to have because I think by and large, more people would say, well, these people are jerks in this city. I think there are pockets of jerks everywhere. There are jerks in kind cities. There are kind people in jerky cities. Who cares? I think we have to set the example no matter where we are. I have no idea if there's kinder cities in some places. I wouldn't know those.
I just want to know. I just figured instead of moving out of the United States, I was hoping there was someplace in the United States that was kinder than the others. I'm kind of looking for checking my options out. I want to ask you this because it took me some time because I experienced direct racism in my place of work, and it took me a while to get beyond it. Because I thought in my years, and especially with my kids, that they would never experience what we're going through right now with the difference in, people's choices in life, who they choose their partner, the color of their skin, the injustice on minorities, poor people, and so forth. I never thought that this will still exist. And with the death of George Floyd and Breonna and
Yeah.
many others, I thought that was all gone to the 60s because I grew up in the 60s. And the fact that, in the last 18 months, I had experiences from someone that said hello to me every single day, that turned on me one day, and he wore the sign of Make America Great Again, you know, and it took me, after I went through a situation, it took me 9 months. How do you avoid the pain?
The same kind of thing happened to me as well. But it was about being gay. And mine wasn't from anybody I knew. Mine was from people who don't know me. Um, and I'll tell you, Kevin, it had me rethinking my life decisions for about 3 or 4 days. And what I did do was I surrounded myself by people who know me well, and I surrounded myself. I do have a supportive wife. I do have a supportive family, and I surrounded myself by positivity by and large. And, time does heal a lot of things. It's unfortunate that we have to do that sometimes. Um, but I think the reality of it is that we live on a planet that people are unkind. You asked me to describe you before, excuse me, and I said that I saw a black man because a lot of people talk about, well, I don't see color. Well, that's BS. I think that's BS. I think I'm sorry for you because I can drive down the street and nobody knows I'm gay in my car unless I'm, putting a rainbow flag out of my car and screaming out, I love my wife. Nobody can tell I'm gay, but people can tell you're black because of the color of your skin. And so I think it's unfortunate that it's not like we chose to be this way. I didn't choose to be gay. You didn't choose to be black. And quite frankly, it's not a thing that I'm upset about. I have no problem being a gay person, and I'm sure you have no problem being a black man. Um,
I love being black, and some of the stereotypes exist in me.
mhm. So I think, people are like, just suck it up. No, you don't just suck it up. You're a human being. We have emotions. We're emotional people. I think for me, that's part of what drives me to make a difference is the fact that I have been hurt and I don't want other people to feel that way if I can make a difference. Um, so for me, it's a part of the platform that I speak on. I make myself more of a target because I do talk about gay rights and DEI and marginalized communities getting what they should get, just like everybody else. Um, so I don't know that there's one thing that can soothe your heart when you go through something like that. But for me, what I did was I did surround myself by people that I know love me, people that I know who care about me, people that want to make a difference, people who make me feel like light. I don't want to surround myself by people who make me feel hated and dark and without hope. I want to be surrounded by people who make me feel the other way, who make me feel like they're a light, who pour into not just me but into the world, who give me hope, who make me feel better about the way things are. There's already enough of that going on without anybody taking a shot at anybody. So
I thank you for pouring that in. I know this interview is about you, but I was just curious because, like, we talk about all the time about avoiding pain. And I talk about what my grandfather taught me about the four things that if you apply those to your life, it will change your life. And he said, one, when you get to the point that you're so disgusted with a situation or person, whatever, that you just said enough is enough, you
yeah,
know. And I said, I'm not going to add hate to hate, but you said it yourself. I am a human being. It was one of those times that because I didn't see it coming
yeah,
because I thought it came from a place where I thought it was safe. And when
yeah,
it hit me, I started to realize, and I've said this comment before, I said, you always know how people really feel about you. It's the conversation they have when you're not in the room and when they're
yeah,
around like-minded people themselves. Because sometimes people lead and there's more followers than leaders. And there's leaders that want to be, they're followers that want to be leaders, but they're too afraid in
yeah,
order to lead because they're afraid of what other people think. And it took me a while to overcome that. So, you know, it changed me for a moment, but it didn't change me, if I can say that. But I was disgusted, totally disgusted. And that's the reason why this platform exists. And so the next layer is basically I had to make a decision. I can either sit there and waddle in self-pity and go ahead and shut myself down from people that love me, that from all walks of life. And I have people from all circles of life. Um, and I had made that decision. And then I had to go lean towards the third part, what I desired the most. I said, what I desire the most is be part of that change, is surround myself to be that change with people that think like me. Because the one thing that I noticed during the civil rights movement with Dr. Martin Luther King is that he had everyone with him. I think the reason why the voice that we have that has power because they figured out a way to separate all of us. We all know how have our labels. It's like when you look at me, I'm Black. I'm not Kevin, highly educated, very successful business
Yes,
person, a
exactly.
father, an example, support my community. You are Lisa. You're not Lisa Demmi, the gay person. You're Lisa Demmi, the activist, the person that she's the daughter to her mother. She's a sister to her sisters and brothers. She's the best friend and confidant to many, and she's the wife of someone that loves her and protects her.
Mm.
And then the last thing is I had to resolve the issue is that throughout history, the people that I know in my life don't support the conversations that their forefather had. So I need to go ahead and find grace and forgive them and allow us to unite. Because I will tell you, if we ever unite, things will change. Just like
Yeah.
this conversation of having this conversation, it's easier to sit down and listen and learn and to hear and then ask the questions that you've always wanted to ask and then be prepared to hear the answer and then listen some more. I think that's where change begins.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Nobody listens like they should anymore. And that's, the sad thing that you said that as you're talking, it occurred to me that, sometimes you do have to give grace to those people. There are, people in my family who um, would vote a way that would be harmful to me, yet they love me. Some people would say, well, I'm writing those people off. I can't do that because they are my family. And I choose education and I choose conversation instead of writing them off. Yes, there are absolutely some people I write off. But it wouldn't be my family. It wouldn't be my friends. Those people are the people who know me the most, who I think conversation and, my sisters even asked me, why are you so vocal about gay rights? Why are you so vocal about Black Lives Matter? Why are you so vocal about any of that? And I'm like, because people don't understand the way, like, when someone says, well, I have a lot of Black friends, great, that's great. Or I have a lot of gay friends, fantastic. That doesn't mean, they don't understand the repercussions of the decisions that they make, how they will affect those gay friends, how they will affect those Black friends. They think just by virtue of having gay friends or Black friends or whatever kind of friends they might be, that they've done their, check. I'm a good person. I've done my thing. I'm a good person. I have friends, that are different. But I think it has to be more than that. You have to take a stand. You have to be the voice for those people who don't have the voice. And I think you have to put your actions where your mouth is. That's something my mom's always taught me. Pay attention to the actions. People can say whatever they want, but how are they acting?
Right. And I also think that we need to change the conversation of how we do this. Mark Burrick during the George Floyd trial called me and said, I'm calling all of my Black friends to let them know that we are with you and that we love you. And I said, well, Mark, I appreciate it. I said, but I also want to let you know how that translates and how it's being received because everything's based on interpretation and perspective. I said, when I hear it as a person of color that you've calling all your Black friends. This is translating to me, and I know you don't mean it. You love me. That I have a house in the Hamptons. I drive a late model BMW. My wife is this, and I'm an entry level manager, top level manager. And by the way, I have three Black friends, and I'm just calling you. I said I've
Yeah.
never once had a party and said I'm inviting a couple of my white buddies over. It's always in my world, in the way that I was taught, it was however your parents named you. That's who my friends were. I was never identified by um, how you recognize yourself. If you tell me this is the way you recognize yourself, Lisa, I'm always going to recognize you as Lisa. And I think people, we need to see exactly what's in front of us, another human being.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying, but I would also say sometimes the what's the word I'm looking for? Like sometimes we attack our own, like sometimes gay people attack gay people because they don't like the
Black people
way
do
that
that
you're
too.
gay. And exactly, I was just going to say. And so I think that it's really important for us to be not just open and authentic with other people who are quote unquote different from us. But sometimes the person who needs to learn the lesson is the person who's exactly like you.
Yeah. Uh, let's do this. Wouldn't it be easier just to say, let's open up? I noticed you have some celebrity bottles behind you.
Yeah.
Let's say, let's open, you got several bottles like behind you. Let's say, well, let's open up honesty. We all have our biases somewhere. All right.
Mhm.
I don't eat red meat. All right. So that's my biases. So the beef company will say I have a prejudice against them, but they'll never ask me why. It doesn't digest and I don't process protein. It gives me a stomach ache and diarrhea. So I choose not to do that. So we have neighborhoods that I don't go in and I'm black because it jeopardizes my health and my freedom. So it's not the fact that I'm prejudiced. I'm smart. I worked a life that we had there. So let's go ahead and acknowledge we all have our biases. We all have a history, and somewhere down the line, we pull back the bushes, and we have an uncle or aunt and whatever that probably wasn't a great person, but that doesn't say who we are. All right,
Right.
let's look at another bottle over there, and you've got it signed by some famous drummer. Which bottle is that?
This one right here. It
All
is
right,
a
who
bottle
signed
of
that bottle?
blackened whiskey. Lars Ulrich from Metallica.
All right. And let's say we all have the love of music. Let's show up to a concert. Let's listen to the music. Let's dance together. And let's say that we're all responsible for loving another human being. And I say today, pick one. I pick you today, Lisa.
And I pick you today, Kevin.
All right. So when you're listening to this podcast, pick someone to love. And I'm going to tell you, go ahead and be selfish. You can be greedy. If you want to pick more than just one, pick a couple of them. And if you like Baskin Robbins and you want to go 21 flavors, feel free to mix it up a little bit. All right. And enjoy your ice cream. Lisa, you are a breath of fresh air. You are a gift. Is there anything I missed that we should talk about? Because this we could talk about for 2 more hours.
I feel like we could really, Kevin. I don't think so. I think I just would challenge people to break out of their comfort zones of what they're comfortable with and do something nice for someone who cannot repay them in any way, where they will not profit from anything that they've done, and just do it and see how you feel. And, try it for a week. And I guarantee you that you will feel like a different person at the end of 7 days after you do that for somebody for 7 days straight.
Now, let's try that for 7 days straight. See if we can do that.
Okay.
Do that for 7 days straight without any interruption, without any excuse, and without any delay. Let's try that. Lisa, if I were to ask you, if you had one ask, ASK, and I'm saying this for a reason, I've talked to you before the show. Um, I have something that uniquely happened. It wasn't planned, and I won't take credit for it. I think this is just an energy that came to this show. When people were telling me how to grow my show, they said you got to have X amount of followers in order to get sponsors and everything else. And I said it was just way too much work. I surround myself with genuine people, people that have a high call to action. So I'm going to grow this show the same way I grew my business, one person at a time, and one person that has a high call to action. As a result of that, um, I've had 6 people today that have answered the question I'm about to ask you that their life has changed. And most people go throughout their whole life and never have one dream that ever comes true. And I've had total strangers that made 6 people that have been guests on this show their dream come true. So when I ask you your ask, I say ask big. Because in my circle, my friends don't drive by an accident. They stop to help, no matter who you are.
Right.
And you're part of that circle. You have a high call to action. So I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm going to say make it big because someone is listening. It may be 30 days from now, maybe 6 months from now, they'll look at this and says, something, I want to be part of what Lisa's doing, or I want to grant her wish because I'm in a situation or a position that I can help because she knows what I mean by here by says reach one, teach one. That's all about giving back. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take 5 seconds, let you take in a couple of deep breaths, and you look pretty in pink
Okay.
there, Abdallah. And I want you to ask and make your ask big. And if anyone interprets my ASK as being spelled any other different, that's on you. So make your ask big.
My ask is like I said, I think kids are the key to changing the world. I think the next generation is gonna make a big difference. There's going to be a pivot, something different, something big is coming. And my ask is, I really would love to be able to give 100 kids. Okay, you said make it big. I'd love to give 500 kids a year help with their passion through my Small Magic Foundation. So my ask is for donations for my Small Magic Foundation. It's self-funded right now. Um, but if I had more people who were interested in making the next generation the best generation, then I think we would make such a difference. The world may not change for me, but that isn't like I'm not interested in making a difference before I leave the planet. I'm interested in setting up the world to make a difference after I'm gone. And I think it's kids who are going to do it. So my ask is, I would love support and donations for my Small Magic Foundation so that I can make more difference for more kids who in turn then will make more of a difference for the world.
And how do people get in touch with you in order to address your ask?
They can reach me. I'm all over social media at Lisa Demmi, DEMMI.com. But if you want to reach out to me directly, you can email me at Lisa at lisademmi.com. And I do not have any admin to answer my emails. It's me. So it comes directly to me, and I will respond to each and every person who reaches out to me.
Well, I will say this. As of last count, and I thought there were 283 million people here in the United States.
Mhm.
12 months ago, I said there were 8 billion people on the planet. But for some reason, somewhere around the world, they've been getting busy. The recent study shows there's 12 billion people on this planet. And so we get
Yes.
1% of those people to recognize and pass on and share this interview or this conversation. I don't do interviews of Lisa Deming. And that 1% turns around and grants 500 kids the opportunity to have a better chance at this life. How you, how you level the playing field is create opportunity, and that's hope, helping other people every day. Please help Lisa Deming in order to have her dream come true. So when I say this to you, and people call me the mindset messenger, I say for you to grow, you must make some mistakes. To have
Absolutely.
confidence, you must address your anxieties. To forgive yourself, you must hold yourself accountable. To learn, you have to unlearn some stuff. And to exist, you have to show up as more. Understand the power of your words. This is a note from me, your mindset messenger. So if you like what you've heard on this show, I suggest you go to our YouTube page, RMK Productions and Network. And I would say watch all of our videos and share this one, pass it around, do your thing. If you'd like to be a guest, and Lisa, I'm going to say there's always a chair waiting for you to return and talk about what the next step is. I say go to info at rmkproductions.org. Put your information on it. I would love to talk to you. All right. I would love. If you're giving back, you deserve to be on this show to be showcased. All right. And Lisa, believe it or not, I'm adding you to a list of my top 100 people and sharing their secrets to their highly successful life of people that are in my circle. So I'm going to ask you if you had to give a takeaway or takeaways to secrets to your success, what would those be?
Just treating people with it's like treat everybody as if they were your best customer. You Customer service shouldn't just go to the people who you think are going to serve you the best or do the most for you. Treat every single person like they are your best customer and give them the 5-star treatment because that's what all people deserve.
All right. Lisa, I will thank you. And to my listeners, I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Talking with Kevin and Son. And like I said, if we've enlightened you or touched you in any type of way, or maybe even changed you from the view that you have from your window, this is a job well done. Like I said, go to RNK Productions at www.org. Put in our show notes or comments, or just share this video. Lisa, I want to thank you. And my grandfather always said, when you get to a point like Lisa in life that you can help someone else out, he said it's your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, Lisa, I want to say thank you, and we'll fade to black. And we're out.